Greetings, everyone. This is Henry Nash, the founder and the author of the book Integrity Does Matter, which talks about living a life above reproach. And we're coming to you today with our segment of Integrity Inspirations. And I have a special guest with me today, my granddaughter, Denali Jones. She is also one of our youth members of Integrity Does Matter. And it's a privilege and an honor for her to be here with us on today. So she's going to help me out on today with this Integrity Inspiration segment. So I'm glad to have her here on today. Today we're going to be talking on the subject of minding your conversation. That's right, minding your conversation, because people are listening to you when you think they are not. And when people are listening to you, what are they hearing? What type of words are we speaking? So we need to be very cognizant and mindful of that. So I want to begin this today's segment with two questions. Number one, why should our integrity matter? Why should it matter? And question number two, why is being a person of integrity so important? Why? Our integrity should matter because we are seen by ourselves and we're also seen by others as being who we are based on how we live. And see, and how we conduct ourselves and how we treat others is an apparent indication, watch this, of whether we are people that live under the auspices of integrity. So that has to be very, very important. And when we're talking about that which is important, the word important is defined as something that is of prominence or great significance. That which is entitled to more than, watch this, ordinary consideration or notice. So our integrity should be important. So when we're talking about becoming a person of integrity, we're talking about placing the emphasis on two main areas that we're going to discuss on today that define who we are as a person. Denali, what are those two areas that we're going to be talking about on today?
Our conversation and our conduct.
Our conversation and our conduct. That's great. Our conversation and our conduct. So what is the definition of conversation?
The word conversation means the ability to talk with other people.
Good. So the ability to be able to talk with other people defines our conversation, and our conversation should be words that are good. They should be words that are uplifting. So Denali, if we speak words that are positive, what kind of outcome will we get?
You would get positive words right back.
Okay, so what are some positive words that we tend to like to hear from people?
Thank you and how are you?
Okay, all right, okay. So the flip side to that is that if we speak negative words, what kind of outcome we get? We speak them.
Negative words back.
Okay, so what are some negative words that we don't like to hear?
Shut up, or you're ugly.
Yeah. See, and thank you. See, our words have power and significance, and we must learn how to guard our speech if we want to become people of integrity. And it's so important that this is what Solomon wrote in the book of Proverbs, chapter 18, verse 21. He said that death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. I'm going to have Denali read that same verse of scripture, but in a different, easier to understand translation. Read that for them, Denali, and tell them what words you do.
Words kill. Words give life. They're either poison or fruit. You choose.
So she's telling you the difference between how the words are. Words kill and words can give life. So we got to be careful and we got to be mindful of the words that we speak. Tessa Watt wrote a book called Mindfulness. She wrote a book called Mindfulness. It was a very interesting read. And this is what she said. Her definition of mindfulness is becoming more aware of what's going on right here, right now. There's an awareness, she said, you got to have of what's going on around you right here and right now. My bishop, Dr. R.A. Gatewood, preached a powerful message out of Romans chapter 8, verses 1 through 6. He talked about living life from the inside. And he spoke about mindfulness in his message. And this is what he said. He said that we must practice the art of mindfulness, watch this, which is paying attention to your current situation and not judging yourself while going through it. Very, very powerful. So when we practice mindfulness, there's a becoming that begins to take place and an awareness that begins to take place in who we are as a person. So taking heed to our conversation is vitally important for living a life of integrity. Why? Because when we speak, our words are somewhat similar to seeds that are being planted in soil that will over time bring forth fruit that gives life or death. The great philosopher Plato said this here. He once said, he said, people are like dirt. He said they can either nourish you and help you grow as a person, or they can stunt your growth and they can make you wilt and die. Something to think about. Something to think about. And Paul even alluded in the Corinthian letters, 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. He said, don't be deceived. He said, evil communication can corrupt good morals. It can make good people be bad, because what it does, it ends up influencing what's the next point Denali is fixing to talk about is our conduct. Our conduct. Denali, what does the word conduct mean?
The word conduct means the manner in which a person behaves.
Good job, good job. The word conduct, she said it's a manner in which a person behaves, how they govern themselves, how they act, and all that. That makes a difference. Listen to this. There are a myriad of things that come into our lives to try to influence us. Some are for good and some that are not good. But when we allow a particular type of influence to have access into our lives, whatever it may be or however it may come, it has the propensity and the ability to cause us to behave in a certain kind of manner. So we have to be mindful of that. That's where the mindfulness comes into play. Because when our motives are hidden and concealed, and we're not open and upfront in our daily dealings with ourselves and others, our integrity will always be in question. So, let me present this to you right quick. To live a life of integrity does not mean that you're a person that lives a life of perfection and you're absolutely flawless. We all make mistakes. That's just a part of life. Real integrity is revealed when one makes a mistake and try not to cover up or gloss over the issue. Marvin L. Williams had this to say in regards to a person of integrity. He said that the truest test of one's integrity is when they are wrong. So when you're wrong, are you able to admit that you're wrong? That's very, very important. Not too long ago, maybe about a year or so ago, the team and I, we were on a book signing in San Antonio, and we had to have the privilege of being able to engage with many people when we were out and about promoting the book Integrity Does Matter. And I happened to get involved in a conversation with a particular gentleman, and we talked about the importance of integrity. And one of the things he said to me is that he wants to make sure that he focuses on doing better so that he can be a better person. And I told him, that's great. I said, that's a great thing. But I challenged him in his current way of thinking. I said, try to shift your thinking from doing better to being better. See, when we focus on being better, we will end up doing better. And when we do better, we will get better. So it's very important that we understand in our pursuit of becoming a person of integrity, let our focus be on being better. And as we be better, we will do better. I know Denali and I had this conversation not too long ago. She had a question she wanted to ask me, so I want to give her an opportunity to ask this question she wanted to ask. What was the question you wanted to ask me, Denali?
Why is it important for you to live a life of integrity?
That's a good question. And she directed that question personally to me. Why is it important for you to live a life of integrity? One of the things I told her is that it's very important for me because of those people who are connected to me. Those that I know and even those who do not know. Even more important when it comes to my friends and my family. My family is very important to me. So living a life of integrity, I want to make sure that I live the right example, and I want to model a good example in front of everyone, especially my children and my grandchildren, on how I'm supposed to live as a father and as a grandfather and as a husband to my wife. So that's why living a life of integrity is important to me. And as we always say, how you live your life says more about you than you can ever say about yourself. And that's a good question. Thank you for asking that question.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we must not fall into the trap of doing better apart from being better, because it unknowingly sets us up for making a slight modification in our behavior outwardly, watch this, and not make the change that is needed necessarily inwardly. The inward change is very important because integrity is an inside job. So this concludes our segment. We thank you all so very much for tuning in on today for our Integrity Inspiration segment. And I thank Denali also for joining me on today. It's been a pleasure and a privilege having her here with us. But before we leave, she's going to share with you three what's called points to ponder. And these points to ponder are located at the end of each chapter in our book, Integrity Does Matter. So take thought and consideration with what she's about to share with you. Go ahead, Denali, share these points with our listeners.
In your own words, how would you define integrity?
Okay.
Do you make it a goal to live a life of integrity?
Okay.
How important is integrity in your life when you're dealing with others?
Those are profound questions. Thank you so very much. So this is something for you to take away, for something you to think about, and for something for you to consider as you make a pursuit, an earnest pursuit to live a life of integrity. And I want to end today's segment with an Integrity Inspirations quote from our book. Listen to this. If your conversation and your conduct are not in alignment and in agreement, then your integrity will always be in question. We want to remind you all to visit our website at integritydoesmatter.com and purchase our book, Integrity Does Matter, which talks about living a life above reproach. It is life-changing. It is very thought-provoking, a very simple read. I'm sure you would enjoy it. Just visit our website, integritydoesmatter.com, and we'll make sure that when you purchase it, that you will receive your copy of this great book, Integrity Does Matter. And remember, how you live your life says more about you than you can ever say about yourself. Why? Because integrity does matter.